what tips can you give to parents on delivering the information that they're separating, especially taking into account different ages?
Absolutely. So one of the key things, a lot of people just speak with me for an hour in how to tell the children, because that is so important. I remember working with a client and she said, oh, this happened to me 50 years ago, but I was wearing my orange cardigan with my orange shoes and my green dress. 50 years ago, she was visual. She could remember exactly where she was, what they said. And of course, they didn't handle it terribly well, because not many people do they? They're really caught up in their own emotions and they don't know what to say. But I try and help people then get that right, age appropriate, and also maturity wise. And then if children have got additional needs, you've got to take that all into account as well. But the key messages I think that's important for parents to know: children blame themselves, in my experience, a lot of the time when I'm working with families, no matter how old they are. And they go, well, you know, when they're little, is it because I jumped into your bed all the time and you kept saying you're pulling the duvet over and all that? Or a teenager may say, is it I didn't get the grades, or I didn't do, you know, so well in school? No. So one of the key messages is to tell them that it's not their fault. They're not to blame, and mean it, you know. And it's a good idea to plan it. Just sit down and think. I always get people to get a piece of paper and jot down some of the key messages that you want the children to know. So one of them is, you know, you're not to blame. But also, children, I get them to do a circle and put spokes in it, and what will stay the same. So you can reassure to a certain extent. Don't overpromise, because you don't know what's going on. The carpet's been pulled from you. But have some key messages, because then and then hold the space for the kids to ask questions if they want to. Some children go, oh, that's okay, thanks, and off they go, skipping off. Other children are devastated. Other kids go, well, what's going to happen to the guinea pig? So it can be anything. But also, if you're prepared, you've written it down as well with bullet points to a point. Because when you start to talk, I remember this myself, because I do walk my talk, you get really emotional about it. So if you've got it in a bullet point form, you can kind of keep to the script. And hopefully, if you can stay sort of saying the same sort of thing, and then think about what they might ask you. I've got some conversation cards that I created as well about co-parenting, telling the kids the 20 questions that children mostly ask as well, so that you're a little bit planned up, and you can, you know, it'll go off in different directions, but you might have an idea of what to say, you know, when you say, oh, dad's leaving or mum's leaving or something's happening, so that they feel reassured. Don't tell them in their bedrooms. Don't tell them on a Sunday. I've had parents telling them on a Sunday the night before school in their bedroom.
Oh, it's terrible.
Not the greatest of times. So do pick your time. Do think where you're going to do. When I work with a client for the hour, you know, what will you be wearing, kind of. You get to that detail, because then if it goes a little bit off-piste, at least you know it's in the sitting room. And then what are you going to do? Oh, well, we're going to do what we always do. We get fish and chips on a Friday. Well, then go and do that then. So that all helps sort of move it forward. I remember, I don't often go to visit families and work with them. They, you know, do it, you know, remotely or on the phone. And I went to this family, and the dad said whatever it was, and mum was there, and it was quite tense. And then he just got up and left. And they were bereft. The children, they hadn't planned it. I didn't know he was going to just leave. They thought he'd gone forever.
Yeah.
So again, you've got to sort of think about the ages and stages of what a child will understand. I remember working with someone. They planned this hour, what they were going to say, how they were going to say it. Really carefully we did it. And then they sat down. The child was 3, and they started to do it. And then the little lip went like this. Because she went, but who's going to look after me? She thought they were both going.
Aww.
So you think you're planned up, and you're just not. And then you'll get the teenagers where they're in different phases. Then they're, you know, sort of embarrassed that somebody's been playing away or whatever it was. So it's about trying to keep the lines of communication open with your teenager. Listen more than you speak. You've got 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason, I think. And that is so that you hold the space to hear what they think, what they might want to say. And of course, it's an ongoing conversation. It's not just one. It's like the birds and the bees. It's not just one conversation and, oh, that's it, we've done it. It can be fluid, and it changes as the circumstances change too over the years.
If you have found this clip helpful, please do like, share and subscribe.